Night one of the Superstar Shakeup has just finished. Well, actually, probably like an hour and a half ago. Either way, it's finished. This is another Ritz Raw breakdown. Normally, what we would do at this segment is we kind of roll through the matches of the night. After watching it, they were all kind of subpar. I'd probably tell you the best thing for me to watch was the women's match a little bit earlier in the night. I have very little comments when it comes to the actual matches because I watched Raw in like two halves. The Finn Balor Jinder Mahal match was okay. Once you actually got Balor into a singles competition, there were a couple moments where, and I don't know if it was him, I don't know if it was Jinder, somebody missed the mark on there, especially with the coup de grace. Jinder missed the initial mark, and the cameras caught a lot of things tonight that they shouldn't have, in my opinion. Now that the matches are out of the way, let's actually talk about the Roman Reigns Braun Strowman moment of the evening. So Roman's having a conversation with Cole, and that lasts probably about 3 minutes. And then Strowman just comes in and obliterates Roman Reigns. Just from start to finish, it's all Strowman. And he's bouncing them off of walls, bouncing them off of garage doors, like the big rolling doors. Does a running power slam onto two production crates that are just kind of sitting there, and then takes another production crate and throws it into Roman's face. And that was the end of part one. They get him onto a stretcher, and that's when Strowman comes back for part two and takes the stretcher and pushes it off the loading dock. Now go back and watch it, though. It bounces and rolls past that center pillar that's right there. But in reality, when they come back to the camera shot and the referee's right there at the ground, it's much closer. So they pulled it closer. Braun put too much power behind the throw for what they wanted. And then that's kind of the end of part two. Then part three rolls around. And then at part three, they've got Roman in the ambulance. And that's where Strowman shouts, "I'm not done with you." Mind you, Long Island is losing their mind over this. Listening to them just roar and things like that. So Strowman's strapped to a stretcher in the ambulance, and Braun's beating him up. New Yorkers are nuts. To top it all off, Strowman lifts the ambulance, and all right, I have gone on record a few times saying that the stuff that I watch can sometimes be really far-fetched. But I look, certain things I look to see, all right, where do they screw up at? And I couldn't find anything with this ambulance bit that made it seem like Strowman wasn't pushing the ambulance up. Now, could there have been something attached to the ambulance that was pulling it? Yes, but good on WWE, they didn't let us see it. And that's kind of the end of that segment. And I watched it. Now, I had, like I said, watched Raw in two different parts, so I kind of heard about this, Strowman flipping an ambulance and everything like that, and still watching it, though, you were really like, what did I just watch? What just happened? Which was a breath of fresh air when it comes to WWE programming lately, to have those what just happened kind of moments that are actually what did we just watch. They're refreshing, very refreshing. Let's talk about Superstar Shakeup. Night one finished. SmackDown Superstars came over to Raw. There was an NXT call-up in Samson. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like the Drifter character. I've watched him in NXT a few times. Rumors were circulating over the weekend that he was coming up, so I went back and I watched some other stuff. Don't get me wrong, guy's pretty good in the ring of what I've seen. But the whole drifter guitar, I want to play you a song bit to Jeff Jarrett, and it's not. This would never work in this era. This would have worked in like the 80s, early 90s. Would have died in the Attitude Era, and it's kind of off now. At least for me, I'm not invested in him at all. Um, I think there are much more deserving people down in NXT that should be coming up, uh, aside from like Bobby Roode and Asuka. Um, so let's kind of talk about who came up. Apollo Crews and Kalisto. They were and Heath Slater and Rhino. They were three that were unannounced. Well, no, I shouldn't say unannounced. They were announced, but they never made appearances on Raw tonight. Uh, Apollo Crews was actually announced early this afternoon as he arrived to the arena. Kalisto was from what I've read, um, and what I've tried to find. That's why it took me a little bit longer to record this. I was checking my facts a little bit. There was no mention of Kalisto showing up, being announced earlier. Heath Slater and Rhino were alluded to about 5:30, 6 o'clock Central Time. I saw a video up on YouTube talking about former tag team champions were coming to Raw. That could have meant just about anybody because they did mention NXT champions. So there was a lot of buzz in the crowd about DIY. I don't think it's the right time for them right now. I think they're going to handle the Authors of Pain down on NXT. Moving on to the opening segment with The Miz and Maurice. I think that's perfect. I think with John and Nikki kind of going away for a little bit, it's the right time to have them on Raw and have them doing something different. Having Dean Ambrose come over with the Intercontinental title really scares me because that means that Kevin Owens is more than likely going to SmackDown, which means his bout with Jericho on Payback, he's definitely going to win if Jericho doesn't go with him tomorrow night. But it's nice to have Dean Ambrose over here. It opens up the Intercontinental title to a lot of new competitors because I felt like the SmackDown roster has just kind of filtered through and they've gone through everybody really quickly. Moving next, I think the next one out was Kurt Hawkins. I don't know what they plan on doing with him, but I'm not into it. I don't care. I honestly got a little hopeful that there was going to be another call-up because he got wrecked by Dillinger last week, which was fun for me to watch. And then Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt shows up after the Finn Balor match, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Finn Balor being on Raw if the Randy Orton thing was wrapped up. Now the question is, Brock gonna get drafted? Is Bray Wyatt gonna win his House of Horrors match, which apparently has been announced for Payback? I don't know. That one kind of leaves me with a lot more questions than it does answers. And hopefully tomorrow night we get some of those answers. Let's see who else showed up. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. I love the Alexa Bliss move. I think Alexa has legitimately beaten everybody on SmackDown. Now it's time for her to kind of try her hand at Raw. It does solidify the rumors of Charlotte going to SmackDown tomorrow night, which I'm okay with on both fronts. because the heel side of each division needs a little bit of this shakeup that we're talking about. Mickie James shows up. Great. I like that Mickey's back. I've loved Mickie in the ring for years. It's just I personally missed her turn on Alexa, or Alexa turn on her. I even mentioned it on the WrestleMania live stream. I missed that. I don't know where I was. I don't know what happened, how I missed it. So I feel like it's all kind of hodgepodge together, and that's my fault. Nia Jax destroyed Mickie James. Holy crap. Go back and watch it. Hopefully somebody makes a little GIF meme thing out of it, because I will just sit there and hit play every time. I love Mickie James, but she took that hit and she took it well. I think that's just about everybody that got drafted. Ms. Maurice, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Heath Slater, Rhino, Kalisto, Apollo Crews, the girls. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, kind of some lackluster matches. The Revival goes over the New Day, with Kofi Kingston being out for surgery. I missed the winner of the women's match. My food had finished. I cooked at home while watching it. I missed that winner. I think it was not. It was Nia. It was Nia. Nia versus Charlotte. Which I hope, with Charlotte moving to SmackDown, it kind of revitalizes her. Ever since her streak was broken, she's been on a losing streak, which I don't like. I don't like Charlotte losing. I thought she had a good balance going, where she was losing on Raw but winning at the pay-per-views. It was a nice balance to her. Jinder Mahal, Finn Balor, with Finn Balor going over, was okay. I like seeing Finn Balor back. He's slowly becoming one of my top guys in the company. Sami Zayn versus The Miz. I fast-forwarded through that match because I don't see it being a feud necessarily. I just see it being a one-off. The 8-man tag team match, I don't understand why the Shining Stars were in it. I think it's just because they're the only other true heel tag team. Obviously, the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro went over. It's good to see the Hardys back in the ring. It's good to see them embracing what got them to the dance. I like the nice nods to the Broken character that Matt does, and Jeff kind of trying to stay true, and so they don't get sued. Main event of the evening was Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens, with Dean Ambrose going over, which leads me to really think that Kevin's going to SmackDown. Chris Jericho coming out at the end and kind of getting the one-up on Owens again leads me to believe Owens is going to SmackDown, as is Chris Jericho. With Suoerstar Shakeup kind of leaving us more questions than they are answers, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night on SmackDown and how many people from Raw go over there. And they're saying it's going to be Payback's a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, but I think we're going to get a joint pay-per-view because things have already been announced. We're 3 weeks away from Payback. It's going to be hard to change the card, and it actually makes sense. So, yeah, not a lot to take from a 3-hour show with the exception of the call-ups. And even they were kind of just eh. And I'm left with a lot of questions. Why bring Bray Wyatt over? Why bring over Alexa Bliss? I mean, I get why, because Charlotte's going over, but why bring over Miz and Maurice? A lot of SmackDown's core talent is gone. So it'll be interesting to see who goes over tomorrow. I think that'll really balance out the rosters. But with me tonight, I feel like SmackDown's in trouble. And the superstars that they brought over are in trouble too, because some of them are going to get buried and lost and lose out on those opportunities that they were truly given. Uh, I really can't think of anything else for it. Overall, it was a decent show. It was a great way to kick off the Superstar Shakeup. It was fun to see those different, all right, who's coming? We know a few who's moving over. It does prove that AJ Styles is not moving to Raw, which is good. There were a lot of talks circulating today that a Slam app, WWE Slam app, actually spoiled it. So it's good to know that that wasn't true. I'm not saying I believed it, but I was sitting there reading it today and going, they just picked two people. They could have picked Big E and Kofi Kingston, and people would have said the New Day's breaking up. It was silhouettes, people. So please tune in tomorrow for Doing It Live with Jax. Well, not tomorrow. He'll probably put his up Wednesday for Doing It Live. All of WrestleMania breakdown is up. We have 11 parts of it. Go check it out. Between me, Silent Hill, and Jax. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. And as always, remember, Ritz is always right.